morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, and the Wild and Crazy Junior Hockey Discussion Group on Facebook. You are watching the Junior Hockey Morning Show. Maybe you are listening. We are on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hopefully this morning. Maybe it's in the afternoon. Maybe it's in the evening. Maybe it's next week. Whenever you are, wherever you are. Hopefully you enjoy today's show. Today is Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. And on Tuesday, sometimes I do it on Wednesday. If I were king, ice the tampering. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about the show from yesterday. I woke up with a pretty serious headache. And when that happens, sometimes my speech goes off the rails. That was the case yesterday. I got through it. It wasn't pretty. And I appreciate the kind words from all of you that commented in the group that it wasn't as terrible as I made it out to be. Regardless, today's topic is going to irritate a number of coaches because they are simply donkeys. And we'll get into that in a moment. If I were the king of hockey, and I'm not, one of the first things that must be eliminated is the practice of tampering. Now that we have your attention, let's just go ahead and say it. Coaches that try to poach players from other rosters lack respect for the game. There's no other way around it. Either the coach is one of the good guys or is simply on his way out of the game as a certified donkey. As I see it, we are talking about three different types of offenses here. So let's go through them. Poaching from a lower level. Team from a higher tier recruits player from lower tier without going through the lower tier team's coaching staff. For example, pay to play to free to play. When the free to play coach calls a pay to play player and says, come on up, we want to have a look at you, and that coach makes no contact with the lower level team, that's a pile of poop. That's a donkey move. We'll use that word quite extensively in today's show. Coaches that try to do this are essentially biting off the hand that feeds them. The higher level, Daisy called me in the middle of my show. The higher level team should offer some type of trade or arrangement to the lower tier team. In the case of tier 3, the player has already compensated the team for the developmental cost, so the team deserves nothing but the handshake while benefiting from the team listed as a previous team. From tier 2, the tier 1 team should be compensating the tier 2 team that has endured the developmental expense. Should is a key word here. Doesn't happen very often. If a USHL team thinks they like a kid from the NAHL and it's during the off season, watch out. You get nothing for that. I understand that. From a higher tier, I'm not going to try and pull the wool over your eyes here. This section is all about the non-sanctioned leagues and their infatuation with themselves. Let's face it. The North American Hockey League and Canadian Junior Hockey League is going to have a difficult time trying to poach players from the USHL or the Canadian Hockey League or Major Junior. The problem here is that the continued pattern of abuse and misinformation that gets passed to prospects in regards to some of these non-sanctioned leagues. Those coaches continue to try and sell themselves as a league superior to that of the NAHL and a league superior to that of most of the teams or most of the leagues across Canada. And simply said, for the most part, that's donkey poop. There you go. I said it twice. 3 times. Donkey. But the facts tell a completely different story. College commitments, they're not coming from the non-sanctioned leagues, are they? Maybe 1 or 2, really, directly from there? A year? And how many of those kids are really playing hockey? How many of those kids are being committed but really getting into games? That's a very minimal number indeed. On the ice, where all arguments of this nature should be settled, the non-sanctioned teams or leagues want nothing to do with having to face the NAHL or in the Canadian Junior Hockey Leagues and the championship level competition. And that's exactly why they stay out of USA Hockey and Hockey Canada. Some non-sanctioned programs are running 100-plus players within the club structure, yet has to poach players from other leagues to remain competitive. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Lateral poaching. This is poaching from within the same level of play. Now I'm going to show my hand here a bit. The style of poaching has become a serious problem that needs to be addressed. We're not seeing too much movement between the USHL and Canadian Hockey League, and the Canadian Hockey League does a good job of keeping the Ontario kids out of the Western Hockey League, and the Q does a good job of keeping the Western kids out of the Q. That's not the problem, is it? We do see a lot of back and forth movement between the NAHL and Canada. And Hockey Canada and USA Hockey have a pretty good relationship to make sure that's all functioning properly. The British Columbia Hockey League's move to outside of Hockey Canada has complicated the issues a bit, but even those coaches and the NAHL coaches have a high level of respect for one another. So you see very little of this, and in-season movements are also pretty low number. The BCHL kids are kind of in a bit of a situation where they play a game after October 1st. They really can't go to any other program in Hockey Canada. So if they get dropped from the BCHL, they're going to try to find a place in the NAHL first. It's inevitable. It's going to create some stalls from NA kids, but the game it would overall enhance. The big issue is at the pay-to-play level. From the league championships until the prospect sign and makes a payment for the following season, I encourage prospects to seek the absolute best opportunity. That could be at a higher level of play or a different team at the same level in a different league. As far as I'm concerned, this is open season. But what really gets my attention is the lateral poaching that occurs after the player has agreed to play for a team and during the season. I continue to hear about direct team-to-player contact from all three sides of the Hockey Canada, USA Hockey non-sanctioned line. This is 2023, and it's high time that every team in the system learns to have respect for others. Poachers should be called out publicly and embarrassed into submission. Here's the problem. If you are poaching laterally at the Tier 3 level now, you're telling everybody in the game that you simply do not give a hoot, that you are a donkey, and you can expect that there'll be very limited opportunities for you at higher levels of play in your future. So if Tier 3 in pay-to-play is the pinnacle of your coaching career, and you have to do this to survive, you might as well get a job on the farm, Dairy Queen, McDonald's, or anywhere else, because you're not a darn hockey coach, are you? If you can't develop the players that you got to there in the first place, you can't win with what you picked, you're not a very good picker, are you? Enough of the baloney already. Enough of being a donkey already. But that's just my opinion for what it's worth. If this baloney continues, we're going to make a club of people that do this continuously. I don't care what league you're doing it from. I'm going to put you on a list and put you in our junior hockey discussion group and make a continuing run of your baloney from this day forward. Coaches, if you feel that another team is poaching players off your roster, your player leaves a jump from your team to another league, let me know about it, and we'll call that coach out for what he is, a donkey. The donkey list. That's it. Hope that you enjoy your morning.